Origins, and this is the truth about UK's new Dragonfire Laser. Watch on Sandboxx. What? UK is doing this. Another UK video that is blowing my mind. I was recently UK video from like Sandboxx as well. Like, okay, not USA, UK is doing this. Again, another one. This is like 10 months old, but still. So this is like a laser that is used for defense, right? We've seen in Ukraine how much that is an issue with the smaller Amazon-style drones attacking tanks. They have to create this kind of turtle tank. Now imagine if they had some system like that with laser precision, can take out these drones with high-intensity lasers, right? Now the problem with this is, at least the science knowledge that I have, is producing tech that can produce that level of high intensity laser with efficiency, let's just say, right? And even with efficiency, like, you still need power, like power, like you don't get power out of nothing. That's basic physics, right? So in order to like put out a ton of kilowatt of power once in a certain area or whatever, you need that much power on board. So you need something like a a reactor or some nuclear reactor or something generating power or something, because anything else, like how you going to generate the power? Generators and shit, like how big that's going to be? Like, it's just adding power, and we are nowhere near that, right? So I don't know how effective this is going to be on tank and things like that, but this is about like specific laser in a specific place for anti-defense, like how SAMs are put in some place for anti-air defenses. This is going to be something like that, at least for now. But I see the future where they just fit that on like tanks and things with certain type of newer technology that generates a lot of power and can use it. So that's what it. There's a US counterpart to this, right? Is it called Helios, or I don't know, or is it like, I'm confusing? I don't know, but I'm pretty sure like there's a US counterpart to it. Is this better than that? I don't know. That's what you want. Lockheed Martin makes it, right? Yeah.
The UK Ministry of Defence recently announced the successful testing of their DRAGONFIRE laser-directed energy weapon system, and it has since been touted by media outlets.
Play Star Wars music. Oh, look at that shit. I love it. This is future, man. Right? This is future. In which way I'm talking about? Every technology is certain technology, then it jumps the science a bit. This is that. This is not ballistic. Everything else is like some kind of projectile launch or something. This is literally laser. Like if we do this, right, it's like we're going in completely different direction, right? We're moving away from ballistic type of thing.
As everything from the answer to missile defense to a replacement for missiles themselves. But as cool as this system genuinely is, none of that is true. In fact, most of everything you've heard about this Dragonfire laser isn't true. So let's talk about what this Dragonfire laser system really is and what it's actually capable of. But just as importantly, what it isn't as well. First of all, the Dragonfire laser-directed energy weapon system was first announced by the UK Ministry of Defence back in 2017, and early iterations of the system went into testing in 2018. But then the program ran into some delays, starting with some...
I mean, that's relatively quick. They announced it in 2017 and already made it like, what, 2023? 5-6 years is not bad.
Small technical setbacks, and then longer delays due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So it wasn't until somewhat recently that the UK MOD was able to complete and then announce a series of what they called high-powered tests against airborne targets. But just how high-powered it was, the UK MOD isn't saying. But previous interviews and media reporting from within the UK indicate that this Dragonfire weapon aims to be a 50 kilowatt class system. Now that makes it about half as powerful.
Okay, laser-directed energy weapons. This looks like I'm watching Fallout menu. Oh, look at that, we have laser weapons now. LAWS 30 kilowatt, Dragonfire 50 kilowatt, Iron Beam 100 kilowatt, Helios, oh that's the US one. Yeah, Helios, right? 150 kilowatt. Okay. IDF Iron Beam, okay.
is Israel's Iron Beam that drew headlines earlier this year, and maybe about 1/6 as powerful as the laser weapon systems Lockheed Martin has recently been delivering to the US Army and US Navy. Now, that low power output does not mean that Dragonfire can't be very effective, however, and the UK MOD made sure to highlight some of the biggest advantages of these sorts of weapons.
Yeah, but Helios one, right? Saw one of the comments, and Helios one has a concentrated area target of 10 centimeter or something, while the Dragonfire has concentrated area of 1 centimeter. That would like make like it's really powerful, right? Based on that, because 1 centimeter concentrated, even with that less output, like for that part is really powerful, right? So I don't know, like again, like they could basically scale it up. This could be mostly like, okay, if it works, yeah, works, like let's scale up the power type of way.
In their press releases. These advantages have been characterized by the US Navy in the past as the depth of magazine advantage and the cost exchange ratio advantage, both of which are pretty related. The depth of magazine advantage speaks to the amount of ammunition you can keep on hand for any given weapon system. In terms of air defense, most inbound missiles these days are intercepted by missiles themselves, and as such, you can only carry so many of these interceptor missiles in a ground-based air defense system or on board a naval vessel. A laser, on the other hand, doesn't run out of ammunition until you run out of power, giving you the ability to keep on firing at inbound threats much longer than you would with a traditional kinetic missile interceptor. Now, the cost exchange ratio advantage speaks to this as well, but this goes into how much it costs to replace each of those missile interceptors that are fired. Today's advanced interceptors can cost anywhere from hundreds of thousands of dollars to tens of millions of dollars apiece. And right now, US Navy and Royal Navy vessels are using these sorts of interceptors to shoot down fairly low-cost Houthi anti-ship missiles and drones. And there's been no shortage of criticism for using these multi-million-dollar interceptors to shoot down these tens of $1,000 threats. But a laser like Dragonfire, on the other hand, is estimated to cost by the UK MOD as little as £10 per shot, and that's right in keeping with US Navy assessments that say that their directed energy weapons cost between $1 and $10 per shot. In other words, not only can you keep on firing these directed energy weapons for a lot longer than you could kinetic interceptors, but it also won't break the bank to do so either. But that doesn't mean that lasers are all they're cracked up to be by headlines like this one by the BBC. You see, there are still massive engineering hurdles that need to be overcome before lasers can be an effective means.
Now, this is basically Tesla. Ooh, we're going to drive electric cars. Okay, what about the infrastructure? Where are we going to get electric power from, right? This is kind of similar to that. Like, if we can make it, if we can do it, like, it's gonna happen. This is gonna happen. But right now, maybe not so, right? Like, in military, it's not the same as commercial, so military probably already knows this, and they're moving slowly towards that. And like I said, like, certain engineering problems, like generating energy. Of all the sciences that we are advancing at, energy generation is like kind of, lacking behind a lot, right? Especially when it comes to batteries and things. Battery is very old tech. There is no new alternative to that yet, right? People are still figuring out. People are still like big institutions and like big scientific researchers are already like working on that. But we are not there yet, right? So if we have like something like a high energy output generator or like a mobile modular nuclear reactors and things that we can use basically like Fallout, right? If we can use it in tanks or like certain places like small, let's just say like SAM type Dragonfire laser area, right? Like how Patriot missiles are set up. Let's say lasers are set up and there's small nuclear reactor powering it. That is untouchable because nuclear reactors can generate insane amount of power for an insanely long time. That is like a done deal if that happens. Basically, our nuclear submarines never have to surface type of shit. But we are not there yet. So right now, generating energy might be a problem, right? But they can basically answer that with constant maintenance. If we can generate energy for, let's just say, a few days even, in scenarios where they have to defend, they can replace, if they have to replace like something like batteries or something, they can replace that every few days or maintain a generator or something that is powering it.
means of missile defense, and even bigger engineering hurdles that would need to be overcome to use lasers as any kind of long-range offensive weapon system. First and foremost, the biggest variable here is power output. Now, a few years back, the US Navy used a 150 kilowatt class laser called Helios to take down a small remote control airborne drone. Now, this is about 3 times the power output of the UK's DRAGONFIRE system, and it still took about 50.
Again, like the Helios has like a 10 centimeter wide, like concentrated attack, while Dragonfire has 1 centimeter, which is much more concentrated. That makes it powerful, right? And also, like with the laser, like how long distance you have to attack is also gonna matter, because that's how lasers work. It's gonna like have a diminishing power there, while kinetic, basically like anything like missiles and things, it's a different thing. So yeah, there's like you also have to like think about the range where you can attack.
15 seconds of sustained fire to burn through the side of the fuselage of that drone and damage enough of its internal weapon systems to bring the aircraft down. And it would take a whole lot more than that in order to take out an inbound missile. According to an assessment published by the Congressional Research Service, you need about 100 kilowatts of outgoing power to take down an inbound rocket or mortar. Now that is about twice the reported power output of the UK's Dragonfire, and you would need about 300 kilowatts, or about 6 times Dragonfire's output, in order to take down a larger drone or to burn through the side of the fuselage of an inbound cruise missile. Importantly, you're not going to burn through the nose cone of most missiles with a 300 kilowatt class laser, because these nose cones are designed to withstand a great deal of heat and friction from flying at high subsonic or even supersonic speeds. And then you would need about 1,000 kilowatts, or at least 1 megawatt, to take down an incoming ballistic missile. That's about 20 times the power output of Dragonfire. But again, it is important to understand how valuable this laser technology can be for the UK Navy. You see, you can increase the power output in a lot of these laser weapon systems, but if you can't reliably target and then maintain a lock on a target as it flies through the sky, your laser isn't going to be much good at all. And this is something the US Navy has learned the hard way. It's been fielding similar laser weapons on its ships since at least 2009, starting with the Laser Weapon System, or LAWS, which started out at 30 kilowatts, which is a bit weaker than Dragonfire. The US Navy then moved on to Odin, which was again about 30 kilowatts, and then eventually to Helios, which started at 60 kilowatts and was ramped up to 150. Right now, the Navy is working on fielding Hellcap, or the high-energy laser countermeasure for anti-ship cruise missiles, which promises to be in the 300 kilowatt range, which is right around the same as the more advanced systems Lockheed Martin has delivered to the US Army. And Lockheed has announced development on a 500 kilowatt system that should be forthcoming in the very near future. In other words, while the UK's Dragonfire is not the science fiction technology it's been made out to be in headlines and by content creators on platforms like this, it is a vital step toward the UK fielding very effective directed energy countermeasures to inbound aerial threats. As for how far away those threats can be, right now systems like the UK's Dragonfire and the US Navy's Helios are really only effective at ranges of up to about 1 mile because of 2 real issues: atmospheric scattering and thermal blooming. Atmospheric scattering is basically the way the atmosphere and dust and particles floating in it can dissipate a laser beam over distance. And thermal blooming is the way a laser beam can superheat the air it's passing through, creating a bit of a lensing effect that will knock the beam off course and reduce its accuracy. The Navy believes high-powered systems may eventually be effective at ranges of up to 10 miles, but they're still not sure they'll ever be effective much further than that, at least in atmosphere, because of these challenges. And because both ballistic and hypersonic missiles travel at a minimum of around 1 mile per second, that means that at best, these sorts of directed energy weapons may have just 10 seconds to burn through and destroy or knock one of these weapons off course before they impact their target. And that may really not be enough time to be an effective countermeasure against these sorts of systems. But what these systems could be extremely effective for is taking down a swarm of local.
Yeah, I think we are also not taking into account that it's not just about destroying either. Like, this is the start of technology, right? We can figure out use to this like lasers and like very like specific way that it destroys the electronics of missiles, targeting system, all the things inside it, right? So it doesn't hit its target, or like even disables it before even dropping down, right? Like if it's like an ICBM with a nuke in it, we can have like a laser very specifically tuned, well engineered, that disables the nuke itself before like a rocket can hit anything, right? Because nuke can't just go off on its own, it needs to trigger, right? So there's a lot of possibilities with the laser technology. But yeah, long distance is always going to be a problem. Long distance laser is going to need insane power. Like I said, if we have like modular nuclear reactors, that would be a different thing, but that's a problem of its own. That thing is not coming anytime soon.
Low cost and fairly slow moving drones. Drone swarms are a huge threat to all kinds of defense assets because of their ability to overwhelm air defenses, because of things like running out of interceptors to shoot them down, or the high cost of replacing those interceptors versus the low cost of replacing those drones. Low cost directed energy weapon systems like Dragonfire or Helios could reorient their targeting at the speed of light, taking down a whole swarm of drones without expending all of its high dollar interceptors and leaving that same area undefended against more extreme threats like ballistic or hypersonic weapons. In other words,
yeah, it is so fucked up right now that some high caliber base or high caliber area could be swarmed by 1,000 Amazon style drones with bombs in it, and they're basically fucked. What defenses are they going to use? Like anything there, like it's going to be overwhelmed. Something like this, yeah, it's just like, it's a laser dome basically. It's basically how video games shows some certain defenses. There are a lot of video games you would remember like in the past, like you cross into like a certain like unrestricted area or something, they'll laser you down. Oh, it's futuristic, but yeah, basically something like that would work.
Directed energy weapon systems are unlikely to replace advanced integrated air defense systems anytime soon, but they are very likely to become a part of those integrated air defense systems, serving as a supplement or eventually even a replacement for things like close-in weapon systems or Sea-Whizzes that are primarily effective at short ranges of a mile or less, but extremely effective against exactly these sorts of threats. So, while the UK's Dragonfire weapon may not be ushering us into the Star Wars era anytime soon, it is a very important development for the Royal Navy, and it will all but certainly become the backbone of a variety of air defense efforts to come.
Yeah, before give me my lightsaber, then you can have anything you want. Give me my lightsaber first, then you can have Dragonfire. Okay. It's not even a question. Lasers will replace all the ballistic weapons of the future because that's how it is, right? In the end, it's all, anything you can think of, it's basic physics. Physics trumps everything. Not trump, physics where it's all start. Everything else is a complicated version of physics. It's transfer of energy regardless of what you think, right? And ballistic is like kind of like crude in that way, right? Doesn't matter how polish it up, it's just ballistic. Right, so anything ballistic like bullet, missiles, or throwing anything like that, a hard object, it's working right now. Great, it's powerful. But laser is going to replace all that one day. How long it will take, who knows, right? Like I said, like you need a lot of things, insane amount of power generation, and like insane amount of surge of power, not just generating power, but surging the power at just split second, so it can deploy a high power laser like that, having a ton of laser at one place. Like he said, like one laser can do it. Okay, have 10 laser. What if 10 lasers, attack an ICBM coming? Then it can destroy it, right? 100 laser, why not? Right? Replace everything like with laser, right? You don't need missiles if your laser can take out a target 10 miles away. Imagine like fighter planes. If they get fitted with this kind of laser, 10-mile radius, yeah, but 10 miles before a laser can take something out, right? Laser might be too overpowered. By then, I'm pretty sure like you won't have a fighter plane, but fighter drones that have laser in them. But yeah, that world is coming where everything's laser weapon, laser handheld weapon. Why the fuck not? That's all. Basically, it will turn into Fallout, right? You will have laser weapon. I don't know, laser weapon. Let's just say. Right, well, that was the truth about the UK's new Dragonfire Laser, but on Sandboxx. If you like my content, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.